Well, little moment come when I've got another little thing to show as to how I've been kind of making things out lately. And I tell you, it just kind of makes me think what I told you in the last video, the friend who messaged me telling me how, recording a lot of videos and can be a lot of hard work. And I'd say in a way, most certainly it is. And I'd say that there were probably the years of my life when, before I became so business oriented, I just sort of, I'd say, had a little more playtime in my life. It's not the way it goes anymore these days. So, just have to say that this has been my kind of work lately. And well, I did find this little number 7 type of 5/8 gouge here, and of course there was kind of a little place where a little 5/8 of an inch had to be done down here to make the face. And here's how I demonstrate the way I dig right into the wood with the gouge. And for a little thing, just have to kind of put up another little line or two to make it so it'll come right straight into place. And oh, I tell y'all, work is just taking its toll on me. Kind of gotta put a little faith in our work and the things we do and the things we make. Oh, I tell y'all, this is such a crazy deal these days. Oh, like, by the time we work ourselves into this, we see what little things we gotta have out of it, and to come down where we're making it where little things can be done different little ways. They even suggest you use the gouge to kind of dig out the wood in the face, but you can use a knife as well, like they also say. And then I think that's kind of what I'd be better suited to use that to kind of get some of the wood out of the way. And I'd say that it's going to be a precious little thing to have once we all just come right down to it. Oh, and I say, this is the kind of work we see that we do in our lives. Oh, blessed times for blessed people, I say. Oh, and as for how we kind of got the little face put in for her, is just kind of making a little time where we'll see a little brighter light come in. And then there's a little thing we'll say to the end, and probably it's gonna come up a little sooner or later, and we're going to take the same gouge, put it in to make the lower part of this face too, and finally draw a couple of little lines to go the rest of the way in, make it so we see little shepherds or little Mary kind of take her way up to where, oh, a little sight we see, blessed children, blessed Redeemer, and make the way up where we sort of put lines to the edge and come up with the little design just how she is supposed to be. And that first one we did was the one that I kind of messed up in the last video, but thankfully we got that taken care of, and we're moving on to the next. And oh, little blessed work, I say. It's just kind of taken us to where we next little place in life where I say the heck we want to be. And when it comes down to this, we remove an extra piece of wood and kind of put a little work into what makes little Mary the way she is, the Virgin Mary. I've even heard in some religions she's called Madonna. I'd never heard that name for her before, but at first I always kind of thought of that singer Madonna. She was always the one who I always heard of first with that name. So I'd say there's a little certain lines we make down these little edges to be the, like I just made here below her chin, to kind of be the ones we cut along next, and have little faith where we kind of put the little work down in this. It's just like the way it's going to look when we all get done. See how Mary's going to be just a special little character we have in our soul and in our life. Oh, she's going to be the blessed Virgin. You know, like think about how people always say that God found the Virgin Mary and made her the mother of Jesus. She didn't know why God chose her. She didn't think she was worthy, but she was nevertheless the one that God chose. Just like there are certain people God chose for certain things. In the Old Testament, there were people he chose for priests. And even in the New Testament, you know, there were those who he chose to be apostles and prophets, and even these days, those he chooses to be preachers and pastors and deacons and so forth. So I'd say that this is just how this works, making it seem like we got a little farther away on this. Got it where her face is kind of carved in the rest of the way. Got other little lines to make for the rest of her cloak. Kind of cut little lines in to make it so she's going to be a bright little character to look at and see. And oh, I tell y'all, little work this way. Oh, the things we see in life. Oh, the things we work at in life. And how we work at them is going to be very meaningful to many more people in the future as we see the light come and go through the day. And oh, I say, finally get the work put into her. She's really a blessed character to know, a blessed one to see. I say, Mary is wonderful. Mary is good. She's a creature of the one who bore the Lord Jesus as her own, as a Savior. And that's the way it should be. And the time comes when we work our way about this. And then I tell y'all, in my life, probably seen some heresies out there. Sometimes I tell y'all, I'll get a little low in my speech. Can't hardly hear a word I say, but manage it well. Here, we got the rest of her out as well. And I'm thinking there's probably a thing or two we might even skip along the way, but just wanted to say that it's probably about time we try to put in Joseph's little face as well. He also has a little 5/8 of an inch face. I do think when we come down to the shepherd, it's going to be a little different, but this is where we work our way in, make things as the best way we know how for them to be. I say less work, less times. Oh, I say in little times in life, we honor the Lord in all we do. 5/8 of an inch here, 5/8 of an inch there. And then try to put the little place where we make the little head, put in the little place where the little head shall come in, and oh, I say work along, do our little blessed type of work thing. And work is good, work pays off, it makes all the better of us. And finally, we got little lines to draw in. We're going to try to put the head into Joseph as well, and kind of make it so it's going to be a little nicer for us to see how Jesus was born. We know I used to go see that thing called The Living Christmas Tree as a kid, and there was that line that Joseph had in the song. He said, though the child may not belong to me, I'll belong to him. And that's pretty much the way it went. Joseph, he wasn't really Jesus' father. God was Jesus' father. But Joseph was the man who raised him. You know, we even see for one thing that it was like even before Mary and Joseph got married, you know, that God had already given Mary the Son of God, and Joseph didn't know that she was given by the Son of God. He kind of thought she had betrayed him, but then an angel came to Joseph in a dream and told him not to go, told him in the dream that this was actually the Son of God that she was pregnant with, and the work shall come its way, make it so we see. Oh, and I say for one thing, little gift of Magi come a long way. These days, there's little things about religion that tend to offend people so much more. We live in a more liberal, sensitive world these days, and we see how everybody kind of teaches things so much differently than they did before. And as of this world we live in, we're going to see a lot of things. Like here, I got Joseph's face out. A lot of things, the way they're going to change and the way they're going to be. We know that there's just a little Savior in this world who we know he was born to this world to a virgin to save the world, and then, you know, one day he's going to come again. The Bible says that nobody knows that day or hour when Jesus is going to return. Not the angels in heaven nor the Son, but only the Father knows. You know, God the Father knows when Jesus will return, but Jesus himself doesn't know. He's part of a Trinity. He is God, but he's God the Son. and there's the Father, Jesus the Son, and the Holy Spirit. They make up the Trinity of God. And there's just so much to find out as we get a little longer away. I'd say that this is just where we come with all this carving work. Finally make it so we get his face in, and oh, make the world so much brighter, easier, better for us all. See the glory of God come in the work of things. And as we did with these little lines where we made Mary, there's a couple more where we're going to add them on to Joseph as well, and see how this shall make its way out to us. See us in the light of the new world, how we're going to see little things. And right below the chin, you see those little lines I drew in on these. And that's just how we're going to make a little ways along. Try to cut the lines like this, make it so we see Jesus now. And then the little Joseph figure, and we know that Joseph was a carpenter. The Bible has even stated that Jesus himself was called a carpenter. Wouldn't know what kind of carpenter he was as a job, but you know, we know that that was a name that was given to him, if nothing else. And in those days, carpenters just built furniture. That was kind of how they did for a living. They sold in a trade, and of all things in those days, it was like that was how God worked for the mysterious ways of the people. And we see that Joseph, like he was a carpenter, you know, even the Apostle Paul, to that matter, was a tent maker, as we kind of see in the Bible. You know, people did all kinds of things in those days to make their living, just like I work in a school cafeteria, to that matter. You know, there's all different kinds of jobs we do. I do things in addition to all I do, you know, and we kind of got this area around the face cut out for the cloak. Just got another place to go for this next little line we're going to take. Make something out of this where we see how bright this is going to look and how timely it's going to go. Fashion in us, make us all see what this is going to be when we all get down to the very end of what we're doing. And I say, oh, great times, little people. In our lives, we sow the seed of mourning and sorrow. And there's that verse where it says, sow seed in the morning and in the evening, let not your hands be idle. And it's in Ecclesiastes, and one of those verses that, from what I read in a devotion, was one where they were telling you not to use faith in God as an excuse for laziness. Indeed, sometimes, you know, we do have to work these days, and I work a little more than I used to, because I do just as much of a business these days as I ever did any jobs or anything like that. And that's how it works along for me. I say, got one more little place cut out for one more little cloak. There's been times when I've thought that some of these little things, they almost came out looking like little Pharaoh. There were certain figures like this that I made for a David and Goliath set once, where I kind of translated the pattern a little bit to make the characters a little different. And the one that I enlarged and made so big to be Goliath, as I was carving him, there was a place or two where he kind of came out at first just kind of looking like a pharaoh, but then I kind of carved him down a little more and his face showed out with his helmet, and there was just a lot to know with that little set of carvings I made, and with all that there came about to be to share in this life. And for the blessedness of all, come back to say, we come back to this place where we were carving Mary along, come back along to little, where they say take steps 59 for 62. We've already done that, already taken those little steps there, and think when it comes down to where we're going to get along to Joseph's, the bottom part of his headdress, it's going to be just little lines to make. Some of these little lines for it we've already kind of made here, but there's going to be a little bit more to draw in to kind of make him the rest of the way. So we'll see that come when it's kind of like, I'd say, you know, time to do it. And oh well, I say there's just places where next little steps come along. I'd like to show all the steps at once, but it can be a little difficult to do now and then. So share the word, share Jesus, and share the faith. Want to tell you all it's about time to end this video, so thank you for coming on to watch me again. Take care and goodbye.